So it looks like Kraven the Hunter, which will be hitting theaters this Friday. It looks like Kraven the Hunter will be the end um, of Sony's Spider-Man cinematic universe. Um, Now, I don't. Now, for those of you who are, for anyone here who is confused by this, I do not mean Spider Man in the MCU. Spider Man in the Spider Man, Sony owns the rights to Spider Man. That is the reason why that is the only reason he is in the MCU right now is because Sony is allowing it. They have a partnership with Marvel. They have a partnership with Marvel. Um, they came to an agreement, and they have allowed Spider-Man to be in the MCU. Um, I am talking about the Marvel movies made by Sony and Sony alone. So the Venom movies, Madam Web, Morbius. It looks like that universe is going to end with Kraven the Hunter. And I'm going to pull up some information that I have here. Um, I'm going to pull up some information here that I've grabbed, and this comes from comicbookmovie.com, and it says Sony's Spider-Man universe is dead. Kraven the Hunter will be the final spin-off movie for now, and it says here ahead of Kraven the Hunter's release in theaters this weekend, Sony has finally taken notice of bad reviews, negative feedback, and declining box office numbers, pulling the plug on its Marvel slate. Um, and it says here, um, yep, and it says here, a top talent agent tells the trade they've developed what they want to develop for now. It is really all. It is really about the next Spider-Man film. And then it says here, a Sony insider tells them that the studio now intends to focus on Spider-Man 4, co-produced with Marvel Studios and Beyond the Spider-Verse. On the TV side, Spider-Man Noir, which I will most probably be doing a separate video on at some point. Um, and Spider-Man Noir is also a top priority uh, as Sony looks to finally put the spotlight on the character that matters, Spider-Man. Um, Venom provided the doubters wrong, or Venom provided the doubters wrong in 2018. Um, when it earned close to 9 million at the box office. However, reviews were largely negative. And both Venom Let There Be Carnage and Venom The Last Dance sorry, I can't talk today, guys. Earned significantly less. With the latter in the lowest grossing in the trilogy. The message from fans was clear the message from fans was clear. They've had enough with these spin-off movies and the liberties they take with the source material. And then it says here the biggest issue with the Sony Spider-Man spin-off seems to be the lack of quality control. Yeah, well, if the Madam Web reactions and reviews were anything to go by, then that was definitely a huge part of it. Um, a second Spider-Man, the second Sony. Sorry, guys, I lost my place. Oh, here we are. A second Sony insider says sometimes that lack of quality meets a movie no one asked for, which was the case with Madam Web. Yeah, no shit. Um, and um, and that is a no-win, and that is a no-win scenario. It may be time for Sony to start cultivating different IP to launch new franchises. Um, and then it says, yeah, any goodwill the Venom franchise once found was obliterated by movies like Morbius and Madam Web, both uh, both of which became subjects of ridicule on social media, and they also flopped at the box office. Yeah, um, I've and Morbius especially. Um, Morbius was so from what I remember, Morbius was delayed like at least 5 times. Um, Once was obviously due to the pandemic, um, and um, and then I think another was due to reshoots at one point, and it just it kept getting delayed and moved around, to different release times and release dates and stuff like that. Um, and then when it finally came out, it was like one of the worst reviewed movies on Rotten Tomatoes, um, and then it did not make any money. And then apparently, Sony apparently had the bright idea to re-release it in theaters again, um, hoping, probably hoping, to make. Probably hoping, to make some money on it, and it made no money whatsoever. Um, so that, yeah, so that, I think that says a lot. Um, let's look at another thing that I grabbed here. Um, and then let's look at another thing that I grabbed here. After the Amazing Spider-Man 2 failed to meet expectations, Sony decided to partner with Marvel Studios to reboot Spider-Man in 2015. Following his following his introduction in Captain America: Civil War, after a hit followed hit after hit followed, until the studio decided to do its own thing with the movie that would eventually become Spider-Man: No Way Home. Um, yeah, and then yeah, so it looks like um, yeah, so it looks like Sony is pulling the plug on their Marvel. I guess you could call it, like their Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the Spider-Man spin-off, movie universe, whatever you want to call it. Um, a lot of these, I mean, I enjoyed, the Venom movies for what they were. I mean, obviously, they obviously weren't perfect movies, um, but they were definitely. I have yet to see the new one. I've only seen the first two. I'll definitely watch it at some point, when it comes out on streaming. But the problem with movies, like Craven, Morbius, Madam Web, which obviously never should have been made. But the problem with these movies is, they don't, and like Venom, with Venom, it's like Venom obviously wouldn't exist without Spider-Man. Venom, uh, you know, um, remember, remember, Spider-Man had, the symbiote first, obviously, and then, you know, and then the suit found, Eddie Brock. But it just, I never understood why Sony thought it would be a good idea to just, completely take Spider-Man, out of the equation. Um, it probably would have made, how they chose to incorporate, Spider-Man into the movie. I think it probably would have made a little bit more money, or, maybe have, like references to, Spider-Man. But, um, it does look like, though, and I don't have anything to confirm this right now. However, there is a lot of there are a lot of reports saying that Venom and Spider-Man finally could be crossing over, um, in Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man movie. So, um, um, it looks like that, and obviously they dropped that. Obviously, the post-credit scene in at the end of, Venom Let There Be Carnage, um obviously got, an overwhelmingly, uh at the that scene at the end of, Venom Let There Be Carnage, with, Spider-Man on the TV. Um but yeah, it looks like this is the end for now. Sony, Sony's reputation when it comes to movies is very, 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 very hit or miss. Um, and in these, Spider-Man spin-off films, really, to a lot of people, they just, these movies, are really just made to, these movies are really just made as, Sony's desperate attempt, to do something with, with the, with, it's literally nothing more than a desperate attempt, uh, you know, to do something, with the brand they own. It's just, I mean, I would, like, I could call it a cash grab, but at the same time, it's like, a lot of these aren't even making any money. So, to call it a cash grab wouldn't necessarily, I don't think it would, necessarily make sense. Um, but, yeah, um, but, um, yeah, and they just, and in Sony, like, they don't even, um and another thing about these movies is, and um it's not just Sony. A lot of movies are doing this these days, but a lot of, one of the other things that just really, really bugs me about these movies are the special effects. The special effects are awful. I mean, like, the special effects for Morbius were so bad. I mean, and like, I couldn't even finish Morbius. It was so bad. Like, one time I tried watching it, I literally shut it off after, like, I shut it off after literally like 10 minutes. It was so bad. Um and it very, very much felt like, an unfinished movie, like a, like something that they had just thrown together in like a day, and then just, put it out there. Um, despite, despite the movie, despite the movie, constantly being delayed and moved around, and, and all that, and all that other stuff. Um, but yeah, no, this is, but yeah, no, me personally, I think it's a good idea that Sony, ends this, you know, uh, universe, ends this, Spider-Man, um, universe, for now. There is a Spider-Man noir TV show coming out starring, unfortunately, starring Nicolas Cage, um, who is usually very, very hit or miss. Um, I mean, it's obvious why Sony, is bringing him back. They're doing it because, they cast him because he already voiced him in Into the Spider Verse. Um, but but yeah, no, I mean, like everybody saw, what his Ghost Rider was, and that was, you know, um, uh, the less said about that, the better. Um, but yeah, but I mean, I will say though, the costume looks great. The costume is comic book accurate. Um, but I will need to see more before I can make before I can really, like have an opinion on it. I will say though, the costume looks great. The costume looks really, really good. Um, but yeah, so we will see, how Craven performs. From what I understand, it's already being pulled from theaters, even though it's not even out yet. Um, a lot of theaters are apparently um, a lot of theaters are apparently it's already being pulled from like multiple theaters, even though it's not even out yet. I think that's probably because they know that this movie's not going to be a hit. Um, and another thing I don't understand is this movie. This movie was given an R rating, and if you guys remember, the Venom movies were all PG-13. So it's like, really, this is the one that you give an R rating to? Excuse me. It's like, really, this is the one that you make R rated. It's like, I just, I don't get it. I just, I really don't. But then again, a lot of the things that Sony does don't make sense. Um, but yeah, we will see what happens. We will see what happens. I probably will go see Craven, um, just out of morbid curiosity and stupidity. But yeah, I will probably go see it. Obviously, I'm not expecting a masterpiece. It is a Sony movie. Um, but we will see what happens. So yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts on this are. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.